So compound inequalities. It's where you have more than one inequality at the same time. And we're going to have basically an answer instead of before when we had one inequality, we had an infinite number of answers, right? And it was either going all that way forever and ever, or it was all going this way forever and ever, starting from a point, right? When you have compound inequalities, you have different types of scenarios where they are both going towards each other. They're starting at two concrete points and going towards each other. We're starting at two concrete points and going away from each other, but never touching, right? You have lots of scenarios. Now, as I mentioned yesterday briefly, there are two possibilities of compound inequalities, two ways to combine two inequalities. That's why they call them compound. Do you guys know what compound is, or like a compound is?
It's like smushed together?
Yeah, like compound. Like it's like you mix a bunch of things together, right? Well, that's why they call it compound, because it's more than just one inequality. It's a bunch. Sometimes, in this case, we're just going to talk about two, but you could do more if you needed to. All right, so, and they are combined by two words, either and or. Those are the two ways that you can combine them. And in math, they have two words that they connect with these two words. I personally would have chosen different words, but we got to use the words that the mathematical community chooses. So with the word and, the word is intersection. Intersection, is that the right? Intersection. I should have looked that up. Intersection, and for the word or, it's union. Okay? You'll see those sometimes in math textbooks, so I just feel like I have to say them. I might use a different word to explain it, but I'll try to use those so that you can understand what they mean. Now, what we're going to focus on today is only one of these, okay? We're only going to focus on the ands, okay? Because there's a bunch of things that you have to understand in how to solve these and how to write the final answer. It's writing the final answer that's the trickiest part. Solving them is pretty easy. It's just that you have to write them in what's called set notation. And so I'll explain that as we move along. So if I just did two inequalities, x is greater than -2, and I'm using and only today, I'm not using or. X is greater than -2, and x is less than 5. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to graph that. Okay? And so the steps that you're going to follow is number one, graph it. Right? You want to put it on the graph. And then number two, you're going to look for intersection. In this case, because we're talking about and, right? Right? And is intersection, right? And then 3, you're going to write the final answer. The final answer in set notation. And we've got to learn how to do set notation. Okay? All right. So this is not bad. This is actually two separate inequalities. And I'm going to put them both on my graph. Okay? So here it is. I've got a number line right here. And I'm going to put -2 here. And I'm going to put 5 here. Don't you agree with me that -2 should be on the left and 5 should be on the right? I mean, it's a number line, right? It's a number line. And I'm going to graph this. This one says x is greater than -2. How would I graph that?
Put an open circle over.
Open circle over the 2.
And then arrow going that way.
Arrow going to the right. Now, I'm not going to just go to here and put an arrow. With compound inequalities, you want to use the entire number line. The entire number line. Did you hear that? All the way. All the way, all the way, all the way, all the way to the end of the number line. Okay? Now how would I graph this one?
Open circle
You guys agree? Open circle over the 5.
and goes left.
Now notice that I'm putting it above the other line, right? And it says I go left now, and I'm going to go all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. All right. So remember what and means. Remember yesterday I asked you the question, I said those who are wearing blue and pink, raise your hand. You have to have both on, right? Both of them have to be true, right? You with me? Okay. Don't worry about the clothes right now. Let's just focus on this. Where are they both true?
In the middle.
So I could actually use a vertical line. I could actually use a vertical line if I wanted, right? Are they both true here? Are they both true here? Tula. Are they both true here? Are they here? True here? Here? Here?
Yeah.
Sort of technically just a little past it, right? Little past it. If they're both true here?
Yeah.
They're both true here? Both true here? Both true here? Both true?
No.
Oh, no. Okay, so where they were true, I'm going to bring down this circle down to my number line. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to bring this open circle at the 2. Okay? And then I'm going to bring this open circle down to the 5. And where did you say they were both true? Everything inside between those two circles? So I'm going to put a great big heavy line between those circles, okay? There's my answer. I mean, that's my graphed answer. And this now becomes my x. Okay? Jack, pay attention, please. Can you put that away? So this now becomes my x. Okay? Meaning x is what I'm solving for. I'm wanting to know what's the answer. The answer is all the x's that are greater than -2 and less than 5. Do you see that? Okay? So now, when I try to write these, if I wanted to write this as an inequality, as a compound inequality, as an answer, I would do this. Watch this. -2 is on the left, right? So I'm going to go -2, and I'm going to have x here, and I'm going to have 5 here, right? Makes sense. What's going to go here?
Sign. Oh.
It's going to be, is x greater than -2 or less than -2?
Greater than.
Yeah, x is off to the right, which is bigger than -2, right? So how would I write that?
You do an alligator mouth towards that.
Alligator mouth towards the x, right? You guys agree with me?
Yeah.
X. So it's weird because we've got the x in the middle now, right? That's weird. Because so you have to read it from the middle backwards and then from the middle forwards. So think about it. X is greater than -2, right? X is greater than -2, x is greater than -2, and x is less than 5. X is less than 5. Everybody understand that part? It's a little confusing, but once you get it, you'll make sense. All right, so 2 things. Remember I said and is reflecting in the word intersection? It's where they intersect, right? Where the 2 are both correct. They both are intersecting each other. Does that make sense? That's why they use that word. I would have used overlapping, right? Because they both are true. They're both overlapping here, right? But they use the word, mathematicians use the word intersection. That's fine. So just know it. That's what that means. They're intersecting here, 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 and stopping here, right? So that's what you would say. Now we have to learn set notation, okay? So set notation is that, but you have to do one more thing. You have to put this little brace. Have you ever seen that brace before? Right? And it says, and you have to have a brace on both ends, but you have to have a little space here because you got to put something here. Okay? And so it takes a little getting used to making them because they're not something you do every day. Right? They're a little funky. And this is what you do. this says the set of all x's, the set of all x's, you've got to put that x in here, Tom, you've got to put that x in there, the set of all x's, and then you do a colon, and then that's your answer. It's not that hard, right?
No,
But so understand what this means though. This says this, the set of all x's such that.
Wait, did we make a video on this?
I'm making a video right now. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Such that -2 is less than x and less than 5, right?
Do we have to do everything that
No,
you
I'm
did?
just telling you what this says.
Okay.
That this is the
So we
interpretation
don't
of
have
this.
to write that out.
So you don't have to write this out. I'm just sharing it with you. So when you see set notation, it says brace x colon. It means the set of all x's such that. And then this is your answer. Does that make sense? It's kind of weird. And there are different ways to do set notation, but this is pretty common. Whenever you see the braces, immediately it's a set of answers. So like when you have, if you had 2 or 3, like you know some of those word problems where I asked you to find 2 numbers, you could answer it with a set notation and then the 2 numbers, 16, comma, 42, or whatever the 2 numbers were, right? Some of those word problems. That would have been set notation for doing this. So that's set notation. The set of all x's such that that's true. Okay? Now, is that clear so far? Okay, let's do a couple more. Oh shoot. Oh well. Oh well. All right. So we don't need union today because we're not going to deal with ors. We're just focused on ands.
Will or be on the bottom?
No, it's only and. And the funny thing is though, I'm going to give them to you a different way. With ands, sometimes you will see them written like this.
Can you do one that, like not one that's on the homework?
Yeah,
one that's, like,
I'll do number 1 on the homework, okay? This is number 1 on the homework. Now, I'll do number 4 on the homework. Why not? Do something in the middle. All right, it says 11 is less than 2x plus 3, which is less than 21. So with inequalities, with compound inequalities, you will often see them written like this if it's an and. You cannot write an or like this, but you can write an and like this, okay? Okay? Now, how many sides of this inequality are there? 3, right? Silas is saying 3. There's this, and there's this. How many inequalities do you actually see in here? 2, right? What are the 2 inequalities?
Less than.
11 is less than 2x plus 3. That's one of them. And the other one is 2x plus 3 is less than 21, right? But we combine them into one inequality statement, right? The cool thing about writing it this way is they're super simple to solve. You want to have x in the middle all by itself, right? So remember the golden rule of algebra? Whatever you do to one side of the equation, do to the other?
Have to do to the other.
Yeah, this is the golden rule on steroids. This is whatever you do to one side, you have to do all the sides, right? Okay? And you're always starting from the middle because you want the middle to only say x. So what's in the way of 2x plus 3 being just x?
The negative,
The 3 first, right? That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to subtract 3 from the middle. We're also going to subtract 3 from the right. And we're going to subtract 3 from the left. And draw a line. And now what's 11 minus 3? 8. Right?
Whoa.
And then I put my less than sign down here. I've got 2x. That crossed out is less than, what is that? 18, right? Okay. So now, do I have my x's all by themselves? But now I want to say just 1x. What do I do? Divide by 2. Now, I'm dividing by, am I dividing by a -2 or a +2? +2. So I do not have to flip these signs, right? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
If this had been a -2, I would have had to flip both of these inequality signs, right? By dividing, but I don't because I'm dividing by a positive number.
So you do that to both sides?
To all three sides, right? All three sides. So I have 4 is less than x, which is less than 9. Wow, that's the answer. That's what we're looking for. That's the answer, right? So now I can say it's the set of all x's such that, right?
You don't have to graph it.
So, yes, now we're going to graph it. But the beauty of graphing these, though, but that's my answer. I've already figured out my answer. When it's written in this format, you can immediately get your answer. But then you have to graph it. The cool thing about graphing, though, is look at this. Here's my, you see how 4 is on the left and 9's on the right? Here's my 4. Here's my 9. Here's my x. X is in the middle, right? Is it going to be open circle or solid circle?
Open.
Open circle. I can just do it right like this. Open circle or solid circle? Open, right? And I go in between. Look at that. And that's my answer.
Wait, so when we're giving the answer, do we have to write the graph and the graphing thing?
Say what?
When we're writing the answer on the picture, do we have to
Yes,
do the graph
I need
and
both
graph
this
it?
and this.
Oh, okay.
I need both. Okay?
Wait.
Does it make sense? Fist of 5? Fist of 5, just so I know. Okay, great. Sachi had a question?
Wait, but how is that intersecting?
Because x is greater than 4 and less than 9.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? And so if I had graphed it, I could have graphed it like I did the first one. When I had them separate, you know what I mean? I could have graphed them that way. And then you would have seen, well, one is this way, and the other one is this way. And that's totally fine if that's easy to do that. Most of the time, you're going to do that. You're going to have them separate first and then bring them down together. But when you're solving them from this kind of an inequality type, you can get the answer right away. So you can just immediately, x is in the middle of these two numbers. So you can just automatically graph it that way. Now sometimes with an and, you will get a graph like this. Like let's say this was 2 and let's say this is 10. And this goes this way and this goes this way. What's the intersection?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. So what would you say?
No solution.
No solution. Okay? Okay. What if you had something like this? This is the last one. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to show you an example. I mean, an answer. What if we had this? So here's our number line. This is -2, and this is 5, and where's the intersection?
Oh, what if it's
Silas.
beyond the 5?
Starts at 5 and goes forever this way, right? Right? So just be aware of those kind of things. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember what these are going to look like. So we're going to do more where tomorrow we're going to focus on just where you connect them with the word and the word or. But this is just to practice with the 3 sides, okay? And I think that should do it. That's it. So I'm going to